Look, it is going to be very tough to beat last season's 1-2, there's no doubt about that. But you never know if the stars align, if Venus and Mars are getting on okay, if Saturn is like, 45 degrees off the moon. Look, I'll be happy with a podium. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Forza Ferrari. It is the final two races of the season. It is Vegas today, scene of course of last season's wonderful 1-2 finish. Are we going to do that again? I mean, no, as I'm very unlikely, but I wouldn't have thought we did it last season. So who knows, anything just might be possible. Now a reminder, with 2 races to go, board confidence is currently medium. They're satisfied with race performance, we could probably do with another sort of happy, delighted sort of performance on track, but as long as we get satisfied, we should be okay from here, I would have thought and hoped. Now, there's not too much to catch you up on. We're at this part of the year where we're not really developing the car at all. We're sort of working towards next year. And if we go and have a quick look at the race here and what we're expecting, it's going to be cold. It's going to be, we can see there the track, red is sector 1, yellow sector 2, blue sector 3 when it comes to qualifying. For the most part, it's just foot to the floor, isn't it? A couple of slow traction zones, but that's about it. So top speed, acceleration, low speed, and DRS effectiveness. Time considerations, there's not too much to be concerned about there. Expected strategies is a 1-stop. We'll see how we go in terms of that 2-stop and maybe getting on a soft tyre late on, but we can see the difference in time is about half a second a lap between soft and hard, about a quarter of a second for soft and medium, but it does degrade a lot quicker, so I don't know that the payoff is necessarily going to be there to make up for the, was it 15 or 20 seconds for a pit stop? Yeah, 20 odd seconds for a green flag stop. I don't know the payoff is going to be there, but we'll see how we go, obviously. Historically, Giovinazzi won last year, Mick was second. It was brilliant, wasn't it? So let's hope we can do something similar at this very race. Now, reach Q3 shouldn't be a problem. Someone in the top 4 might be a problem, but we'll hope so. Finishing position, someone in the top 4 and fastest lap, we'll go for those. Finishing position, 2 cars in the top 6, and we'll get a nice little bonus there in qualifying. Someone in the top 6 for the next 2 races, and we'll get another little bonus there as well. So that is that. Let's head off to Vegas. And as we can see, we are not expecting any rain, just partly cloudy. So I'll go and do some free practice, hopefully nail some setups and see you for the race. No, qualifying. Alright, so free practice is done. Let's have a look at how it went. Now, you notice a few penalties here. Verstappen could be a big one, though it probably means he's got a fresh engine and will absolutely be flying. If we go down here, had Mick in 15th, Giovinazzi in 19th. Again, we've got super old engine parts in, so don't worry too much about where we stand. 16th and 17th, sorry, you can see we nailed Giovinazzi's setup pretty much in FP1, so we only did 6 laps in this session. And then FP3, we did basically a time lap on a medium, time lap on a soft, and we were done because setups were pretty good. So yeah, don't pay too much attention to where we are there. It's not as bad as it looks. So we'll go and do free practice. We'll go and do qualifying. Now, one thing, we are struggling a little bit on engines. Now, we don't have any more sprint races, so that's going to help a little bit. But Gio's engine at 56 is struggling. And Mick is not a great deal better off, and we are pushing the limits of cost cap. Now, we're not going to break cost cap as things stand, but we certainly don't have the money to go and replace engines. We could probably do a gearbox or an ERS, but that's pretty much it. So, yeah, we're going to be maybe struggling a little bit, but we shouldn't have any problem in Q1. So, yep, absolutely fine. Just did the one run. Giovinazzi 9th and Mick in 14th, but he was never in any real danger. You can see the gap there is potentially half a second, so he was absolutely fine. So let's go and do Q2. Alright, so we are coming around for our second lap. Now, we're both currently outside of the top 10. Now, Giovinazzi, there was really bad traffic on the first run, so Giovinazzi got held up in traffic, so I'm not as concerned about him. Mick, I don't think, had too much traffic, so that is a concern. We'll see what we do in terms of sector times. There should be sector 1 coming to an end just here somewhere, I think. It's not a track that I've driven on the Formula 1 game, so I'm not 100% sure where the sector times are. It's surely here somewhere. There we go. So green for Giovinazzi. Mick is behind us on track. And Mick is also gone green. Now let's see. Max Verstappen is in a little bit of trouble there in 10th. And he's done his lap, it looks like. And Max Verstappen is out with a penalty. We're going to have a second sector, so not good for Giovinazzi, better for Mick, but we are currently 13th and 15th. This needs to be big. Can Giovinazzi pull out a big lap and get himself inside the top 10? No, he's 12th. Mick is 8th, though. So in the end, Giovinazzi 14th. I've said before, when he's not winning, he's very, very frustrating, isn't he? So Mick is our only car through. The Williams look surprisingly fast, and the AlphaTauris as well. So, yeah, a little bit of a mixed-up field so far. Alright, here we go with Mick. Now, he's currently 10th. He got brutally held up by Ricciardo through coming out of the pit. So through this, sort of all the way through here, and his lap was destroyed. Luckily, it wasn't a new set of tyres, so it's not the end of the world. But he should definitely be going quicker this lap. The checkered flag comes out. We've got a car in front of us here, though, that is somewhat cruising, it looks like. It's Perez, it looks like. It's at a Red Bull, so hopefully he's going to stay out of our way, as he does indeed get out of the way. Well done, Sergio. And let's see what we've done. A green first sector. I don't think we have the engine power in this particular race to be able to do too much, but I think if we can get solid points, that's not going to be the end of the world. We're going to have to do a little bit with tyre strategy, I think, to make up for the lack of pace with the engine. We're going to have to try and make sure we've got good tyres all the time. Let's go see where Mick can stick himself on the grid. He has gone third. Oh, never mind, we're going to win it. Well done, Mick. Third. Well, that wasn't expected, was it? So Mick will start third. Now, Giovinazzi, with penalties, will move up at least one ahead of Verstappen. Might move up ahead of Albon as well. But, yeah, Mick pulled one out there. What a lap. Almost half a second quicker than his Q2 time. Alright, so what can we do with strategy? So, yeah, 12th for Giovinazzi. Now, that strategy is fine. If we did a soft, medium, soft... the thing, what is what I'm thinking with Giovinazzi, although 12th isn't terrible, and he's probably got a better race car than that, do we go with this, and then safety cars, we can always come in, put a hard tyre on sooner, or a soft tyre in the middle or something. I think this maybe gives us a little bit of flexibility. A soft hard is... yeah, the soft tyre is not really going to get there, is it? So I think maybe the preferred strategy is the way to go. Ultimately, I think what we're trying to do with Giovinazzi is get points. And with Mick, well, I think we've seen Mick recently struggle a little bit in races, and we've seen Giovinazzi deliver some wonderful comeback drives. So there might be, we might have to play this by ear a little bit, ready to call some audibles. But as things stand right now, this would, I'd take third for Mick and like a 6th, 7th, something like that for Gio. But let's see what we can do. Alright, welcome back. I see some soft tyres there on Perez. Looks like a lot of mediums. We'll have a better look once the race gets underway here. We'll just well, we won't pause it. Well, let's just really defend and make sure that we're getting the maximum pace out. And let's jump on board now with Giovinazzi. Mick, it looks like, has held on to third. So that's good. Now, one thing we don't want to do is push the tyres too much. Mick's actually going side by side, is he, with Lewis Hamilton. And it looks like, oh, not quite. Got stuck on the outside there. Might still have a chance. We almost just need to settle in here, though, don't we? And save those tyres. So for the most part, it's all mediums. There's a couple of softs. Everybody's on the main strategy, aren't they? So that makes me wonder, then, with someone like Giovinazzi, if we were to really push, go medium, soft, and then we'll play it for a couple of laps. So what I'm thinking is, if we come in, say, here somewhere, really push the mediums, come in here on a soft tyre, but everybody else is on aging tyres, is that soft tyre going to kick us on enough to then go onto a hard tyre at the end, which we can push, and will be a fresher hard tyre than everybody else? That's my thought process right now, but we'll have to have a little think about that. Mick, it's okay, mate. It's okay. Just, I mean, the thing is, Mick's out of position, isn't he? He's ahead of where he should be. And if we have a look, we've got Alonso behind us. If we can stick into the DRS zone. I mean, this was what we saw in last year's race, if you remember, was just a massive DRS train. So I think if we can stick with it until DRS is active, which it will be at the end of this lap, then everybody will get towed along, and it's difficult to get out of the DRS train once you're in it, kind of thing. So let's see. And he certainly pulled back up a little bit there, hasn't he? This is going to be a fun race, I think. Alright, now, we have made the decision with Giovinazzi. We are going to stick him on full send, come in for the soft tyre. The reason I've done that is before we did that, he was sort of stuck behind Piastri and Hülkenberg. He wasn't really going forward anywhere. And I just had you could just see him sort of just struggling to get to sort of maybe get to the back of this train eventually. Now, this is the Alonso train, is sort of fifth back. we'll just see. We'll just see. We're basically, in terms of keeping our job, we're relying on Mick to get a good result here for us, as it looks like Perez's tyres may be on the way out already. We're basically relying on Mick to get the result that keeps the board happy, and Giovinazzi's just a little bit of a Hail Mary to try and, you know, if it works brilliantly. If we get a well-timed safety car, it could work out even better. And if not, then, you know, hopefully Mick brings home the result. But, yeah, it's only a 50-lap race, so he needs to be quick, but he's doing 39, he's the second a lap faster. So if he can do that, we will make up for that extra 20-second stop, won't we? So let's see how we go here. He's going to have a bit of a job getting through this DRS train, though, I fear. Maybe we'll use this as an opportunity once he has DRS, which he does now, to start to do some conservation as well. But anyway, I will keep you updated. Everybody cheer for Mick, though. Our job might be relying on him. Alright, so quick update. We have Mick just doing a wonderful job, just topping up his battery slowly, just conserving fuel, basically sitting here. Occasionally he goes up to third, often just sitting fourth, just keeping a very close eye to make sure that we don't get caught out by everybody sort of suddenly doing a push lap. But for the most part, he's been absolutely fine. He's just been very comfortable. So that is a positive sign. Giovinazzi, this is his in-lap. Now, he has flattered to deceive. Basically, we've been sitting here again trying to save up his battery, do a bit of fuel conservation. What we are going to do is, when he comes out on the soft tyre, we're going to do 2 absolute push laps, and my hope is that we can just undercut everybody in front of us here in those 2 laps. We're going to have brand new soft tyres on. We're going to go on the hard tyres at any point that can get us to the end. We need a good stop here, please. That's, by our standards, not too bad. We are going to go more than we are at the back, so hopefully the problem here is going to be, are we going to be able to, we don't want to go too hard on these, let's go aggressive. Are we going to be able to get through the traffic quick enough to make this work? But everybody in theory now has 1 stop to go, and Giovinazzi's about to set some lap records here, I think. So yeah, we'll keep us updated on this. Everybody else's pit stop should be coming up in about 5 or so laps time, I would think. When's Mick? About lap 22 is that, so about 6 laps, 7 laps, 6 laps. Norris is in, he started on a soft as well. So yeah, let's see where this goes. Giovinazzi, though, needs to be rapid now. Alright, so we have a little bit of a traffic jam here with Giovinazzi. This is not working out as we had planned. So we will see. It was always the risk, wasn't it? He's just not quite able to get... I was hoping what would happen is that he'd have better tyres and he'd, in this phase of the race, and be able to sort of get off corners a bit quicker. We can see there he's got a decent run there, but we've sort of used up the battery a bit there now. Yeah, the issue is that Norris has come out in front of us, who was in that gaggle of cars, and yeah, so there's a few others that are now... So now this might help us if we've got some guys coming into pit. Then that's gonna free up some track for us to race into. The biggest problem we have is Norris on a hard tyre going to the end. If we could get him here, there's that Piastri. That's Piastri. So Norris is in front of us still on a hard tyre. Now, of course, we passed Piastri in the start of the race, you may remember. So with 1 stop to go for everybody, and let's remember that, we are still got to make another stop, but so does most other cars in front of us. We're back up to 13th here. So there's a chance that this still might end up okay for us. Mick is coming in this lap because I've been pushing his tyres too hard. And actually, it should have come in that particular lap. So yeah, well, I may have stuffed up there with Mick. Let's try and deploy him and see if we can make up for the damage that his tyres are going to do. And yeah. Oops, sorry, Mick. Giovinazzi, though, is he not ahead of... He is ahead of Verstappen. This is Leclerc, who's ahead of us in that little gaggle of cars as well. But again, all these cars are going to the end. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. Mick is staying more or less with George Russell, so that's good. He might even get an overtake done here, you know. And we'll stick him on the Harvester coming to the pit lane. I don't know if it actually does make a difference, but I figure if you're slamming on the brakes to go into the pit lane, surely that recharges the battery. So, anyway, here we go. Everybody, the front top 3... Hang on, both Mercedes are in. That's not going to work, is it? They better not hold us up. We go straight through them. Good job. Now, where is Perez in all this? Perez came in earlier, of course. There's somebody. Is that Perez there? And he's a little ways up the road, but he's going to have a little bit... Yeah, he's got much older tyres than us. So we'll see. We will chase after him. But both Mercedes have come out. Yeah, he's got about a 4-second gap, so that's a little bit disappointing. But we'll see what we can do. I mean, second would not be too bad. It looks like Hamilton is in our DRS. I wonder if we could try and break that and get as close to Perez as possible here. Yeah, I mean, that may not be possible. Giovinazzi, though, in 11th. Yeah, again, I mean, we might even be able to put him on a medium tyre to the end. That looks like a decent overtake there on Leclerc, is it? As Hamilton does get past Mick, so we'll just save his battery up. And more cars coming in. And was that the Perez fastest lap? It was. So Perez is pushing now, isn't he? He knows what's going on. And we'll just take Mick. We'll try and save his tyres a little bit, as that is, I'm assuming, Max Verstappen coming flying past. Yeah, this is just the issue that we've been having. He's not quite getting the overtakes done as quickly as he needs to. We might need to go and push these tyres on a little bit. Again, I've got that hard tyre set to push to the end, so if we need to come in a little bit earlier, then that's not a problem. We can definitely do that. Can we go and get an overtake done here? Can we get a double overtake done? Max is looking a little bit slow, a little bit vulnerable, but nothing to be done there. And anyway, Mick is still right with Hamilton. If we can kind of work together, then there is a chance we could run down Perez that way. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Giovinazzi, though, 9th now. Still needs to get past Leclerc, though, here, doesn't he? Alright, now, good news here is that Hamilton went on a real push to try and get away from Mick. He actually did break DRS. He was out to almost 2 seconds up the road. Mick is running back down, though. Not taken too much out of his tyres, and in the process, both cars have caught up to Perez a little bit. So you can see we've had to take a little bit out of our tyres to catch him back up. But essentially, Hamilton has wasted that. Giovinazzi, he is coming in this lap. He's actually dropped behind Ricciardo, which isn't ideal. But he is going to go put on a hard tyre. He can then attack to the end. I'm thinking we should come out. There's a big gap between Sainz and Ocon. We should hopefully drop into that gap. So that should put us in 12th spot. And then we can, then we can go from there and try and get points. Whether it's, who knows? We'll find out how we go at the end here. What we need, ideally, is a good stop. Can we do sub 3 seconds? Not quite, but it's not 5 or 6, so it definitely could have been worse. And let's see if we do indeed now drop into this gap that I was hoping for. It looks like we have. That slide out to the wall gets you every time, doesn't it? And yeah, we will now be pushing more or less to the end. And let's hope that we didn't have a medium tyre. I did look at putting a medium tyre on, but we didn't have any. Only had one for the race. So, yeah, that just kind of is what it is. But yeah, Mick is, I think Perez has probably done enough to win the race, but there's a gap of 7.5 seconds back to Lance Stroll in 4th. So if Mick stays on the track, stays out of the back of Hamilton and vice versa, then he should be on for a podium here, so that's good news. Giovinazzi in 12th, 14 seconds to close in. Let's see what he can do. I'd like to think, and we'll get an idea once we start to see his lap times. I'd like to think 8th. I think he should be able to get Leclerc here. There's still 20 laps to go, so if he's a second a lap faster, and we'll get an idea of that momentarily here, then yeah, let's aim for 8th, and I think that'd be a decent day's work for him. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. We've got a yellow flag now. It's multiple cars. Is it somebody inside the top 10? It's Lando Norris. So that is really going to help Giovinazzi, isn't it? Is that Albon, I'm assuming, and Norris. It's a bit of a nothing, but it's going to help a little bit anyway. So to give you an update, Mick is just sitting here. We've charged up the battery. We're just sort of stalking Hamilton for now. Perez is doing decent lap times in front, but we are slowly, as a duo, reeling him in. Now, Ricciardo's got us to Ricciardo, not Albon, of course it is. So that is good, obviously, that we're reeling him in. We're pulling away from Stroll, who has a massive train of cars behind him. Giovinazzi is not catching them quick enough, which is a little bit of a shame now. He's got to get within 5 seconds of Ricciardo now for that to be a position. and he's currently 11 seconds back, and then there's a gap to Sainz, so he's well outside of that currently. But we're just sort of sending in full go on the tyres. It doesn't really matter at this point. And yeah, we'll kind of see what he can do. As look at that, they've almost taken 2 seconds out of Perez that lap. They're right with Perez. We're right with Perez. So I don't know what's happened on that lap. Perez has either made a mistake or he's just had to back right off his tyres, because his tyres are that much older. So I'm not sure exactly what has happened there. But that's been a very poor lap for Perez. And suddenly it's a 3-horse race at the front again with Verstappen in 4th. Now he may catch us a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be arriving in time for the end of the race, so that's absolutely fine. And Giovinazzi, what sort of lap time did he do? A 38.0. So he's still not quite got the pace to be able to, to run down these cars in front as things stand, which is disappointing. Alright, so we've got 6 laps to go. It's very much a tale of 2 races. The problem Giovinazzi has is that he's doing decent lap times. If we look, this last lap, Mick, who's, I'll check on him in a second, is doing 38.7s. And he's done a 37.8. So he's arguably, for most laps, the fastest, if not one of the fastest cars on track. The issue is that the cars in front, a lot of them they got DRS, which he obviously doesn't have, so they're getting that big toe down the straights, which I think is more or less negating any advantage he's getting from his tyres.
Just confirm it's thermal dig.
So, yeah, it's just making it very difficult for him. Now, Norris is on older tyres, so we might well catch him. Yeah, I think our best bet may have been actually for Norris to try and stay ahead of these guys, but even if we just get Norris's DRS for a lap, it might catch us up a little bit. As Perez gets past Mick now, so we've got to be a little bit careful on where we're sitting here. We don't want to be too far back, obviously, but we've got tyre life, we've got charged batteries. If you remember back to last year's race with 2 laps to go, we just went, and that is more or less the plan for this season as well. So we're just sort of sitting here, just saving tyres. We've got a little bit of extra fuel, so we can push that as well. Battery's fully charged, so yeah, I don't say definitely going to get a podium, because obviously things can go wrong, but it's 9 seconds back to 4th. Unless something does go wrong, we're going to get a podium. We're going to do 2 cars down the outside. Go on, Mick. Oh, swoops in and takes the lead. Does he? Not quite. Not quite. But, yeah, it's looking good for him now. Now, Giovinazzi is almost up to the back of Norris. But, I mean, that's only 11th. So, and then there's a 9-second gap between Sainz and Ricciardo. So I don't think he's going to score points. It was a bit of an experimental strategy, and ultimately there was too much traffic, I think, for it to work out for him. I think if he hadn't got stuck in DRS trains, which was always a risk, and possibly I should have realised that and not done the strategy, but ultimately, yeah, it's just not quite worked out for him. He should get Lando Norris here any second, down the back straight, in fact, and then it's only a second up the road. Yeah, could he go and get 10th, nick a point? Sainz is obviously a little bit slow. We'll see. Norris should be quite easily done. And then we'll nick back up to the front of the field as we come around. There's, 3 laps to go. So we've got to be patient. We don't want to go too early. But, you know what? Giovinazzi just might. What are lap times are these guys doing? Sainz has done a 38, a 38, and a 37. So he's going to catch them. He might nick a point here if he's lucky, or 2. Maybe he gets 2, gets to 9th. But we'll see. But let's get back to where the real interest is, because I think we start and attack the tyres, and I think DRS will take us up to the back of them, and then I think what we'll do is we'll start deploying once we get to the front straight here. So go. And this is Michael Schumacher, or Mick Schumacher even, going for a win, and our second win at Vegas. There's Perez down the outside. We've got a little bit of extra petrol, so let's go and use that, see if we can get overtakes done. Now, if we can get Hamilton down the back straight here, there's a chance, or the side straight, I guess. Oh, 3 wide. What we don't need is a crash, of course. But, yeah, now it looks like Giovinazzi has got past Alonso, has he? And he may well go and get past Sainz as well. And that would be Giovinazzi into 9th if he can do it. Just be patient, mate. Just be patient. You've got the back straight. Let's go back to Mick. He's on that back straight. And this is surely going to be like taking candy from a baby, as Hamilton that'll be overtaken by the Ferrari that he is so desperate to be in next season. It is next season now, isn't it? which is a bit of a surprise, isn't it? But for those who asked, he's not Italian. We're not going to sign Hamilton. Come on. Can we go and get it? Last lap. Down the outside. Alright, let's neutralise. Let's wait. I think, ideally, we probably want to be looking at the back straight for the overtake. Now, we should have enough battery to get through the back straight now. As Sainz gets Giovinazzi back, which is not ideal. Where are they on track? So there, and we've got him back again. Oh, Hamilton, has he got enough of a gap? He may have just sprinted clear enough here. This is it. This is the race win. Can Mick Schumacher go and win the Las Vegas Grand Prix? He's down the outside. Hamilton has no response. Mick goes to the lead. And as long as he brakes, turns and accelerates, he's going to win the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We will deploy Giovinazzi now to see if he can go and get past. But here we go. Mick Schumacher wins in Vegas. I think, is he going to win in Vegas? He is! Back-to-back wins at Vegas. Nick's second of the season. And now Giovinazzi, look at that. He's got him right there with him. He's got him right there with him. But I think he's got enough. And Giovinazzi, I think, is going to go and get, less than a 10th. But Giovinazzi gets 9th as well. First and 9th. But well done, Mick. What a drive. We own Las Vegas, don't we? We own Vegas.
Mick Schumacher's drive, definitely worthy of praise today.
An inspired strategy from the team there. What a well-deserved win that was.
Well, his dad stood on the podium many, many times, and Mick Schumacher has proven he's got every right to be there too.
That's their second win of the season. A brilliant talent who looks so at home on the track.
And there's not much that rivals the Las Vegas Grand Prix when it comes to the podium presentation.
So if there was any doubt we weren't going to keep our job, that should just about be that, shouldn't it? Mick up 2 to win the race, and Giovinazzi up 3, and almost nicked himself a fastest lap there as well. So have a look at the driver's standings, and Mick is now ahead of Alonso, moves up to 6th, and it's not Mick's second win, is it? Because it was Gio that won in Mexico, which I keep forgetting. I keep thinking that Mick won there. But Mick is now only a few points behind Lance Stroll going into the final race of the season. So there is a chance for him to get himself 5th in the drivers. Giovinazzi will be 8th. And in the constructors, it was a good day for us. But what's that? 40 points. If we would have to come 1st and 2nd and Aston Martin score nothing, and that might get us over them. But it's not going to happen quite that way, is it? So if we check in with the board with 1 race to go, they are obviously delighted to have won at Vegas again, and that should be us safe. I don't think we could be even disappoint them in the final race, and I don't think they're going to sack us. So excellent news on that front. And guys, that's that. If you've enjoyed it, thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Last race of the season up next. It's Abu Dhabi, and it's a track I don't think I've ever done well at, really, in any game. But let's hope that maybe we can finish the season on a high, but that was pretty good, wasn't it? Take care.